Good morning, everybody. Hi, it's Maria Quattrone with Be the Solution. And this morning, I'm so excited to have my friend Janis Benstock here. Janis is a local real estate broker here in Philadelphia and South Jersey. And Janis, welcome to Be the Solution.
Thank you so much.
How
so
you
nice to be the solution instead of the problem for once.
Yep, being the solution. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, thanks. Adjusting to the new normal.
What we know is the new normal.
Yeah.
So
it's bizarre.
So Janis, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you're doing now, and so you can enlighten our viewers.
Oh, sure. I do a lot of things. I kind of call myself a real estate nerd because it seems that everything I do is revolving around real estate. And so I was a salesperson for many, many years. And then about, 6 years ago, I got my broker's license. So now I have a brokerage and I have some agents that work with me. And I also teach the pre-licensure courses at Temple. So I deal with a lot of people that are coming into the industry.
How long have you been doing that for?
I think three years, maybe. I lose track of time. 3 years, 3.5 years, something like that.
Do you enjoy it?
Practice. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. It's actually what pivoted me to doing what I'm doing now with all the coaching and the training and the online teaching, because I love doing the teaching so much. I mean, I still have my brokerage. I still love selling, representing buyers and sellers. But for the most part, my agents do the buyers and sellers, and I do the agents, and I do the new students coming in. And then I've also built an online community that's still really growing of agents from all over the country and Canada who we meet up to talk about ways to build our business. So that's kind of where everything's headed with me. And it's sort of evolved because I've been doing this for so long that I kind of grew into something else, and I love it. Like, the teaching part is, I think, my favorite part of my schedule.
So that's where do you want to wake up?
Yeah, that's my group. That's my Facebook group. Because it's true. Like, you're Be the Solution. And I, one day I just was looking around and I said, where the hell do you want to wake up? I was talking to somebody and they were flailing about how to build their business and what they want. And I was like, when you go to sleep tonight, where do you want to wake up tomorrow? Like, where do you want to be? Imagine where you want your life to be. And it's just another way of saying your goal setting or what's your why. And I love that. And it's stuck. And that's just the name of everything, because, my group and my course and all that, because it's all about building your own future. It's creating your own path. And where do you want to wake up tomorrow? Because it's up to you.
You're waking up at the beach.
I am waking up until the minute the governor lifts the ban in Pennsylvania. My kids know. They're like, pack your stuff. The minute he signs that bill, we are out of here. We're going home. But for now, everything I do is remote, so I may as well be down the shore.
I would be if it was me.
Yeah. And they opened our beaches.
I heard.
Yeah. They opened it up before walking, and now you're allowed to sit, swim, do whatever. Still a little cold to swim, but I may sit later today with a book.
So is there 6 feet social distancing or 10 feet or what?
It's 6 feet.
Okay.
And at this point, it's not that crowded. I mean, there are a lot of people down, but it's not a hot, a middle July. So there's plenty of room.
So I said, I always social distance on the beach, at least 10 feet all around me. I don't want to hear other people.
Right.
I'm like one of those, if you sit next to me, I'm like, why are you sitting right here? There's an entire beach that's open all around, and then you got the one person that puts the umbrella right in front of you, right in front of the water, and then moved over 5 feet that way to have your anyway.
In the summer it gets really, really crowded, and you don't have much of a choice. But I just kind of zone everybody out and sit in my own world.
Yeah, I know Ocean City is definitely a little bit more crowded than where we usually go in Longport. There's a little more room to space out.
I love Longport. I love Longport. It's beautiful. It feels like up there because it's so almost like rustic and natural versus the whole, Ocean City I love, but there's the boardwalk and the rides and it's all touristy, but Long Porch
Yeah, but that's good too. There's something fun about that.
When my kids were little, it was great because we can see the Ferris wheel from our front porch. So at night when, yeah, so we can see them and the fireworks and all that kind of stuff. We used to come down sometimes for New Year's. They have a big New Year's thing down here. So it's fun. We come down during the year also.
That's great.
Yeah.
When did you start your group?
I started my group probably about a year and a half ago, but I really started. The thing is, social media, I didn't know anything about social media, and I was happily ignorant about social media. And I really didn't want to get into any kind of social media. And I thought, I'm too old for this. I don't want to learn any new tricks. And then I started to realize that I needed it for my business. I just didn't. I just wanted to keep doing what I was doing. And I just did. It was one of those things. One of my favorite sayings is you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't even know enough about social media to start asking questions. I just didn't even know where to start. And so my niece she graduated college a couple of years ago, but she was a media and marketing major. And so I called her, and she's young, and I called her and I said, what do I do? I don't understand. And she sent me one of her textbooks, and she sort of, dipped my toes in the water and got me a little bit comfortable. And I started learning as I go along. And so it was a gradual slide, a gradual progression into the online world. And I started the group, I think in 2018. I'm in such a time warp. I just say yesterday, a couple weeks ago, it was 10 years ago, who knows? But I really started growing it a lot, actually a few months before the whole shutdown. But during the shutdown, I really started spending more time in there because that's where everybody is. Everybody's online now.
71% of eyeballs in the month of April were on social media.
I'm surprised it's not higher than that, to be honest with you.
It might be now, but just to give a frame of reference, in January, Janis, it was 21%, 32 in February, 51 or 2, something like that in March, and then 71.
Wow.
That's
crazy,
right?
Yeah.
So really understanding how to build an online business.
I'm such not a stats person. I'm more of a touchy-feely, intuitive person. And it amazes me. Like when I hear those stats, I'm like, that's so cool. Where do stats people find those stats? Like, is it just in your regular reading, or do you have a stats source?
Oh, so I have a coach, a business coach. Actually, I have 2 coaches, but they're very separate. They're very different. And the one coach is, we're in this group, and he's really connected on a social media standpoint, like videos, how important, and you and I we're going to talk about this, the videos and how important they are. Videos and where people are and how they're on YouTube and they're on Instagram, and you want to get that message, all of these mediums, because your audience are in all these different places, and people say, oh, well, is that like an overkill that you put the same video in 4 different places? No, because you don't know where it's going to reach the person, right? So anyway, he's real big into that. So he's sharing all that information. So I get it from, a bigger source. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sitting there scrubbing around looking for stats.
Right, for stats.
No, I mean, that's why we have people that help us.
Right. Because how did you know that? That's so cool. But intuitively, I knew people were online, but I didn't know the numbers. And then when I hear the numbers from you, I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. But it's true.
I'm just like a statistic math nerd. Like I can recite to you how many units are on the market in Philadelphia on May 1st versus last May 1st. There was 670 May 1st last year, and this May 1st there was 3,677, 60% decrease in inventory in Philadelphia. I'm a little bit of an idiot savant when it comes to numbers. So.
I kind of like it.
Huh?
I kind of like it because I'm the opposite.
It takes all kinds to make this world go around.
Well, that's one of the cruxes of what I teach, is that you can't be everything to everybody and to just be the best version of yourself. Because the reality is, and this happens to all of us, or at least most of us. And this is the God's honest truth. I hear you talking about stats and market share and what's going on in decrease. And there's a little part of my brain that it instantly just says to myself, oh my God, I'm not good enough. I don't know the stats, and she does, and I should. And I compare myself to you. And then if I do that and I fall down that rabbit hole about comparing myself to somebody else, then I forget what my gift is and what I'm good at. And the beauty of where do you want to wake up and being organic about building your business. And it's not for everyone, but the beauty of doing it this way, if it fits, is that it celebrates you being who you are and being the best version of yourself. Because like I always say, real estate is a people business, and we're in the business of people. We're not in the business of houses. We're not in the business of even sales. We're in the business of people. And to me, sales is problem solving. So if my way to solve a problem is through housing or helping somebody refinance or find grant programs or whatever it is, my job as a salesperson is to find out what their problem is and then reach in my tool belt and get my tools out to solve their problem. And if your way of helping people is with stats and numbers and, you know, all that math nerdy great stuff that you do, you're going to reach one segment of the market. If my way is holding someone's hand and listening to them emotionally or whatever it is that I do, I'm going to help that segment. And if I try and be you, I'm going to fail at doing what I'm really good at. And the problem or the hole that I saw in the market, and you have to remember when I started, it was 1996. God, I sound so old. 1996, there was no internet. I mean, or there was like barely an internet. We still had the MLS books. And when we got
there was an internet, but it was
dial up. Right. It was a baby. There was no Google. There was not the wealth of information that there is now. You'll know better the stats of when it started. I just know we didn't have what we have now.
I remember when I got in and there was email, but it wasn't anywhere. Just for 1 second. Let's go back to 1996.
Yeah.
Let's pretend it's 1996 now. What would we do?
Oh my God. Let me do my hair in 1996 first, and then we'll... So what? I can put, I don't know.
How would we function? I think we are so fortunate in where we are today, because you and I talked about this, right? And the gift that we have right now to help other people. And I think that's what your platform is all about, right? And you said comparing yourself to others, comparison is the thief of joy, right? I get kind of a little bit upset right now because, Janis, I look around the country and our friends around the country, their real estate is blowing up. Record numbers in some cases, like crazy. And here we are, we sit in Philadelphia and we could be like, but we have a choice every day. And that's to choose our attitude. And it goes back to like, where do you want to wake up? And it isn't being all things to all people. It's just being you and giving your gift, whatever that is. And it could be all kinds of things mixed all in together, right?
Right. So and there's so many times that, you know, you cast doubt on yourself, or people cast doubt on you and tell you this is the way you have to do it. And it's so easy to fall into that trap and then start doubting yourself, questioning yourself instead of being who you are. And that's what I was going back to in the whole, when I first started, there was no information on how to build your business. I had like a crotchety old sales manager who was telling me, oh yeah, you got to cold call people and you have to do this. And I just never could do it. And I know it works for a lot of people, but it didn't work for me. And I felt like a giant failure because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And I was doing it my own way, but I didn't have any kind of system and I didn't have any support and anyone telling me that it was okay. And so I just sort of figured it out and flailed. And I almost left the business several times through the years because I wasn't having a steady income and I was feeling like I didn't know what I was doing. And there's still so many people out there that say, this is the way to do it. You have to read scripts. You have to cold call. You have to door knock. And that works for some people. But the people that every day wake up and they're like, oh, I have to make my calls, and they don't do it, that's because it doesn't feel right to them. So they need another way. And that's why I created this group. That's why I started teaching the online course, because I was telling people this one by one, and it takes hours to talk somebody through this to get them started. And I just literally was running out of time. I didn't have time to tell everyone. So I created this, and now it's amazing.
I love it. What do you love most about what you're doing now outside of Settle Down Philadelphia? You have the brokerage and you have your agents there and they're taking care of the clients. But what do you love the most about coaching, and what are some of the things that you're instilling in the people that work with you?
Well, it's actually the thing that I really love about it the most, the true, is that it's self-healing, right? So for me, it was a lot of trauma getting to where I am now. It was a bumpy road and it was very lonely. And I went, and I'm not shy about my story. I went through a divorce, which is fine. Believe me, I'm very happily divorced, but the custody battle sucked and it almost bankrupted me. Between that, and I almost lost my shirt on a couple of investment deals that I was doing when the market crashed in 2007, 2008. And right around that time, I almost lost everything. I almost switched my business into something else, and it was just a nightmare. And I was at my friend's house crying. She felt bad for me. I was crying. I was ready to take on a job with a salary.
When was that?
It was actually selling textbooks to universities. A friend of mine did it, and I liked it because it was still sales. I didn't do it. I almost took the job, but it had a base salary, it had benefits, and then you could get bonuses. So to me, it didn't feel like a total sellout, because not that working a 9 to 5 is selling out, but to me it is, because I'm an entrepreneur. I need to be doing my own thing.
What year was that?
That was probably around 2008, 2009. Yeah, right around when everything was in the toilet. And I went to her house. I was just about to take the job. I got hired and I had to tell them whether I was accepting it or not. And I went to her house. She made me dinner and we were having wine. And her husband is a really great business person. And after like the second glass of wine, I started crying on his shoulder, about my up and down business and all that kind of stuff. And he just like calm, plain matter of factly looked at me and he said, well, because you're not planting seeds every day. And I was like, what the are you talking about? And it's the same thing that we all know, but somehow he said it to me and it registered, it resonated. And he said, the reason why you're up and down is because when you're really, really busy, I would have 3, 4, or 5 deals in the pipeline and I would be working on, servicing them, all the texts, all the emails, all the inspections, all the paperwork, all the BS. And then I would have a payday where, you have 5 settlements in a week and, you're going to France. But then 3 weeks later, nothing. So it was like this roller coaster, this feast or famine.
60-day cycle.
Yeah. And we all know this now because there's so much information out there. But back then, I had been in a pattern. There's no information out there. And then I was in such a bad cycle that I wasn't at the point where I was able to go find the information to help. Like I didn't have anyone showing me the way how to do it. And the thing is, there's content and information all over the place on how to do it, but you have a coach, right? You too, right? You have 2 coaches, and it's because we're always learning and and I don't have a coach, but I follow people and I learn from them also. And I also learn from teaching. It's not just about me teaching. I'm learning also in my community, in my group, I'm learning. And as we're going about learning, he explained this to me about this feast or famine thing. And yeah, we all know that information, but somehow it clicked. And then I started on that one principle, on that one thing. And I made that the absolute foundation of my business. And then I started through trial and error and I started developing it into a system. And the funny thing is, until I created my online course, I didn't even know the order of the system. Like I didn't even have I was just doing it, but I didn't document it. And the course also helped me document my system so that now I know, now I have an outline and I share that outline with my students. So it's been a whole growth experience for me. And that's what I love. Like it's healing to me when I'm able to help other people. It's almost like you're taking care of your little girl. You know, like I'm healing the person that was lost and scared and almost bankrupt, afraid that I was going to lose my kids, afraid I was going to lose my house. And there are a lot of people in my group that talk to me and they go through similar situations. And to be able to help somebody, and I have men in my group, but it is mostly women. I think my message resonates more with women. And, you know, women, unfortunately, in this country are still, and probably many parts of the world, are still the default parent. They're still the default housekeeper. It's not that way in every case, but we go out and work all day and then we come home and we're still expected to put dinner on the table, to bathe the kids, to clean the dishes. It's, when do you have a life? When do you have balance?
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real. So, and I know that's not the case for everybody. So I'm not, you know, I'm just, but it is the case for a lot of people.
You know, it's last night it's now day 60 something of cooking every meal, except for one. I think we got one thing from the Union League one night.
What did you get? Was it amazing?
Lobster.
Oh, I did a lobster from a different place though. It was so good.
Yeah, they had lobster, lobster for two 2-pound lobsters with these massive asparagus and baby potatoes for $75. I was like, that's
amazing.
Cheap.
I did a similar thing. We did a lobster for two, and it was enough for me and both of my kids. And it was this giant thing, garlic mashed potatoes and salad. It was only $60 at Pine.
So good.
Really good.
I was
anyway. You were cooking.
No, so I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't cooked or cleaned or washed this. I'm not washed, load, unload, dishwasher so much in the last 60 days. I mean, in the whole year than in the last 60 days. Because look, I eat out a lot of meals. I mean,
right.
Breakfast, I give or take breakfast, whatever. But lunches, most days, half the week dinners.
Right.
Right. And then, so you don't have to, you're not cleaning all the time. I had a house cleaner. Like, they're not coming.
I know.
There's been no, and my husband, listen, he does a lot. He's great. He takes care of the laundry and all kinds of stuff. But it's just like, I sat there, I was like, oh my God, I feel like Groundhog Day.
So many people say that.
It's like, it really does. I didn't know this morning. I was like, it's Friday. Wait, I said, what was yesterday? I said Tuesday. They're like, it was Thursday.
My cousin, was actually my cousin's husband, but he's like cousin. He's a comedian, a comedy writer, and he posts every single day. He posts on social media, reminder, today is Wednesday, every single day.
Yeah, because
it's like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Like, oh, it's Friday, let's do a Zoom happy hour. Every day is Friday. Like, what, you know,
even
if you work,
every day is Friday right now.
Every day is Friday. But I think it will change for us soon. I think the governor might sign this. All you Pennsylvania people need to do that call to action. Even Pennsylvania people.
I posted it on my page this morning. Anybody that's listening, please go there. Just hit the button. I shared it from Bill Festa, who's our president of the association. And all you have to do is hit the button and ask the governor to open up real estate in Pennsylvania. It is opened up in half of our state.
Not even half. I don't even think it's half.
Well, it looks half. It's not half people-wise.
Right. It's not half people-wise.
Geography-wise.
Right.
Pittsburgh is opening today. My friend Dion, her company's opening today. So hopefully Philadelphia is on its way. But it's really like, and it's not just words for how can we be the last place in North America for real estate to be essential. I never thought in a million years that Philadelphia would be in this situation. I really didn't. Did you?
Never. And the thing is, it's not just about us making a living, it's people.
Oh, it's nothing. It's not even about that. It's about all the sellers who can't sell their houses because the buyer agents can't show they can't show the properties.
It's ridiculous. I have a rental listing. It's an investor who bought the house as a rental, and I have people that want the house, but they can't get in to see it because they're not allowed. So then he said to me, okay, well, how about we just put it up for sale just to see what happens, because I don't want this, he's sitting vacant. So I put it up for sale, and I have people interested in buying it, but they can't see it. But here's the thing. One person was allowed to see it because they qualified under the exemption. So now I have to reach out to every single agent and say, your buyer is not allowed to come in and look. Your tenant is not allowed to come and look, but this one person is allowed to come in and look. And the thing that makes me crazy is that I believe in people being safe, but if one person can go in and look because of their situation, why is that safer than everybody else? And I have people that are looking to move that are they're just in limbo. And it's so awful. And people can lose their shirt when they can't sell their home, when they can't rent their home out. It's just, please go on. It's on my page too. Please go on and do the call to action. And when we get off this, I'm actually going to pick up the phone and call the governor's office. I called last night, but they don't have voicemail. So I'm going to call back today.
I don't know if I told you, but we filed a suit.
You did tell me.
Yeah. And 2 other businesses against all of what has happened, the arbitrariness of it. The brokerage down the street from us has a waiver. It's like, we could go on and on, but we're not going to do that because we're being the solution.
We are being the solution.
I want to hear more about your program. So I see some of our friends are on here. Kristen Daly. Kristen Daly wants to wake up in one of those hot markets.
Of course you do, Kristen.
And she loves your hair, by the way. She says your hair looks fabulous.
Thank you. I took a shower today in honor.
Dara's dishwasher is crazy. She's talking about that. Hi, Bishop. Hey, Nicole. Hi, Dina. Joni.
Hi, Dina.
That's nice. We have some friends that are on. So
we did the South Street Festival one year. Remember those festivals that someday we'll hopefully be able to do again?
Yeah, which one? The one associated with Sosna or?
No, the Head House.
Down on East Abroad. Oh, Head House.
Head House. So we did that, and we put up our tent, and I had these little squares printed up papers, and it said, where do you want to wake up? And then we had Sharpies. And it was the coolest thing. And then we had like little glue dots, and people would come up and write where they want to wake up. And then we would stick them all over the tent. And there were some really good ones. For the longest time, we took them and hung them around the office. But then I moved and we got rid of them. But they were really fun stuff, like, where do you want to wake up, like, with that guy? Like some really, really cool stuff. And we had so much fun with it. And I love that question, because you could just look at it so many different ways. We had a really good time with it.
That's fun.
It was fun. I miss festivals. We love doing those. Getting out and meeting the people. Someday.
Yeah, hopefully this fall they'll be back.
Hopefully. Someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're fun. And you meet a lot of people, right? So I always say real estate is 24/7 because it's a lifestyle of always be. Have you ever went to a party and you went to a party and you ever been to a party where not one person asked you about real estate?
No.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I said.
Everybody wants to know what's going on with real estate. What's going on in the market?
Of course.
We have no inventory. Buyers are waiting. They want to buy. Sellers that want to sell need to be able to sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people always ask about real estate. They always want to know how's the market? I go, it depends. Are you looking to buy? Are you looking to sell? Or you want to invest?
Right.
Right.
Investors. I love dealing with investors. That's a whole entire revenue stream and a whole business that a lot of agents are intimidated and that's one of the things I teach is how to speak to investors, because the beauty of investors it's recession proof, because it doesn't matter what the market is. There's always an investment deal. There's always a deal out there to be had. It just changes depending on the market. And that's been the basis of my business since pretty early on. Yeah, so one of the things, I don't know if I ever told you this, but one of the things so I ended up in real estate by accident. I took the 8-year route through college. I was like meandering, transferring. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I transferred from this school to that school to that school.
How many schools?
3 schools
me
in
too.
8 years. Yay!
3 schools, full time, 6 years.
I beat you. 3 schools, 8 years, but not full time. I took 1 year off, in and out, but that's what I did. And I didn't even know what I wanted to major in. And my boyfriend at the time was like, I had to pick a major. And he said RTF. And I'm like, okay. I signed up. I didn't even know what it was. It was radio, television, film at Temple. So
did we talk about that? I was the major.
That was your major at Temple?
Yes.
Shut up. What year did you graduate?
94.
Oh, okay. I was 96. Because I took the 8 year.
I should have been 92. But Temple was the 3rd school. Textiles was the 1st school. Fashion design.
Oh, okay. And what was 2nd?
I went to Camden County just to take courses to figure out where I wanted to go.
Where you wanted to wake up.
Where I wanted to wake up was New York City, NYU.
Me too.
And that got squashed by some people.
I didn't realize that we were on parallel paths.
Squash, New York. It's a terrible place. You can't go there. This is in the late 80s. Right. It wasn't that great. Like, you could look back. It was like,
I don't know. I kind of miss the 80s in New York a little bit. I liked it when it was dingy. But
it was dingy and they didn't want me to be there.
Right.
So I just literally, this is so crazy. My parents sold their house a couple weeks ago through all this it was whatever. That's another story. But I went through all my stuff. I had to go there into like my old cubby hole. We had to open up. I thought there was 2 boxes. There was 10. It was like a mess. Anyway, I found all these old books. BU. I was looking at going to Boston University.
Oh, wow.
NYU. And I went.
NYU is where I wanted to go.
That's where I wanted to go for acting. I wanted to be an actress.
I wanted to go there for dance. I can't believe in all the time we've known each other, we didn't know we were on this like parallel universe, me and you. That's crazy.
Ended up at Temple because I figured it's a state school. I was paying for my own tuition. So I was working and going to school at the same time, working full time and going full time. It was like crazy what I did. It was really nuts. I only slept like a few hours every day. But anyway.
Right.
I was at SCAT or TF, radio, TV, and film.
Me too. That's
Rather than fail. That's what we call it.
What did you call it?
Rather than fail.
Oh, nice.
You didn't hear that?
No, I didn't. I just was
like the biggest joke. We always said, because it's like, I always remember slicing up tape, putting it together to make the real.
The olden days. Well, that's how I ended up in real estate. Was when I was finally ready to graduate, I needed 8 elective credits. And I was like, I got to get out of here before I'm 30. So I took the real estate courses at Temple, and I just loved it. Like, I didn't think I want to have a career in real estate or whatever. I just said, I love this stuff. And what got me was adverse possession. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. When we learned about adverse possession, and I said, I'm taking, because it's just the coolest concept ever. And so I took the test, and then I just said, all right, well, I'm going to do this. But I knew that I didn't know anything about financing, and it scared me. And I thought, how am I going to possibly sell a house if I don't know how to do mortgages? So I did what any insane person would do, and I went out and I got a job as a loan officer. So for the first 5.5 years of my career, I did both. And this was like, in the 90s, it was the wild, wild west. And we were doing all kinds of crazy deals. And I was selling houses and doing the mortgages on them. So I would do the whole entire transaction. And it was great because
you control it. You didn't have to fight with anybody but yourself.
Exactly. I didn't ever have to worry it wasn't going to come out of underwriting or the inspections weren't going to get done. I did the whole entire thing. So,
wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Who were you with at that point?
It was called Prime Bank at the time. It was a local bank in Bucks County. And then they sold to Summit. And
Summit Bank. Okay.
Summit Bank. And then I lasted there. I'm not a corporate person. So I lasted less than a year after it became Summit. And then I left. And then I think it then became Bank of America, I think. I mean, the office is still there, but it's Bank of America. But we had a portfolio. I mean, we did secondary mortgage stuff, conventional stuff. But we also had wholesale lenders, and we also had a portfolio. So, the underwriter sat behind me in his office, and we would go drinking beers and doing karaoke together. Like, he was a cool guy, and he would underwrite the files by hand. There was no DU or LP. It was just a whole different world, but I learned every step of the mortgage process. And even though things have changed a little bit, the basis of it, how it works, is still the same. And that made me not afraid to deal with investors, because I can sit down with somebody and they can start talking about investing, and they don't know what they want to do when you say, what are you looking for? And they say, I just want a deal. Okay, but what kind of deal? And so that background that I had sort of enables me now to sit down with investors and educate them, or be educated on what they're looking to do, and help be the solution, help find a solution to their problem. Their problem is they want to invest. And because of that, that's one of the things that I teach agents is, if you can talk to investors and sell to investors, they're repeat clients. And people are afraid of investors because they say, I hear some agents say, investors just run you around and they want to lowball everything. And anybody can do that. That is not unique to investors. Investors are great in so many ways because they're not emotional. They're about the numbers. They're about, the deal, and they're repeat clients. And the great thing, yeah. And when
that's my bread and butter. So
yeah,
investment.
And that helps generate buyer leads also. If you're working with investors that renovate and sell, then you get the listing. Now you have buyer leads. That's what builds your business. And people are afraid to deal with investors, and I try and demystify it and help them not be afraid and learn how to speak the language so that they can open up that whole entire revenue stream, that whole business.
I love it because having multiple business lines, whether it's residential sales, listings, buyers, investors, commercial, industrial, multifamily, when one thing goes south, the other thing, something else will always be going, right?
Right.
So it's like, if you can figure out how to have multiple business lines, you can zig and zag. Okay, right. Where's the market going? Well, I have to focus over here now a little bit more than over here because this part's dried up.
Right. But I deal with a lot of brand new agents, or agents that have been in the business for a while, but they're just stuck and they never got that start. And when we talk about these like higher level things about multiple streams and whatever, it's like a lot of people are just lost because they don't even know the first step yet. Because I remember being this person. I would hear other agents talk about, oh, my listings and my buyers. And I thought, well, how the hell did you get them? Nobody, it's like, when is someone going to let me in on the secret of how to get them? And that's what I do. And the thing is, it's like, I know that the financially smart way is to be successful at this business is to sell the $1 million properties or the $2 million properties. And instead I sell
not that many of them now.
Right. But I'm going somewhere with this. And I instead have always gravitated towards selling the lower price properties. And the reason is because I deal with investors, and I also did my master's work in urban urban studies. I'm a total urbanist and I love all things urban. And I love watching neighborhoods grow. Like Jane Jacobs is my goddess, right? So I love watching neighborhoods change and watching neighborhoods get strong. And being part of that means something to me. And so I find myself in 2000 selling shells in Graduate Hospital for $18,000. Okay. So I find myself in 2016 selling shells in Strawberry Mansion for $16,000, $12,000. Now, they're worth 120, 150, and I'm talking about the north end of Strawberry Mansion, not down by Brewery Town. And because of doing this and working with investors, I probably work 10 times as hard as I would. And I've closed a couple, multi-million-dollar deals, not too many of them. But it's the same thing with dealing with agents, right? I could deal with the heavy hitter agents and charge $5,000 for coaching and this and that and the other thing. But that's not where my heart is. My heart is the people that just are starting out, that don't even know what to do first, because there's a real gap in the market. There's a hole in the bucket where people like that need support, that want to build a life for themselves, want to help their clients out, want to have independence, and I don't want to say nobody's there to help them, but that's where I feel like my passion is. And I truly believe that everything that you do in your business has to be led by something greater than money first. If you're led by something greater than money, you leap out of bed every day to do what you do. You still need a plan so that something greater than money monetizes. But my something greater than money is helping people, helping the underdogs, helping the people that no one's helping. And I figured out a way to monetize that. I work 10 times as hard, but I do what I do because that's what I'm led by. And that's what I try and teach to my agents, is when you find what you're led by, you're something greater than money, I'm going to help you come up with a plan on how to monetize that. And then it's just go. It's not, I have to drag myself out of bed to cold call because somebody told me I have to do it. You get your own path to success. You have your own carrot on a stick, because maybe you don't like carrots. Maybe you're hanging carrot cake on a stick in front of you. Maybe that's what motivates you, right? Or me with wine.
I have a list.
I guess I do too. Last night I didn't have wine.
No.
I literally said, I'm getting up early and I'm going to do my hair, so I'm not going to have a glass of wine.
Your hair looks good. I tried to do my hair, but it didn't really come out too good today.
Well, it's so easy to just, in this whole environment, just stay in sweatpants. So
I know I'm dressing. I got a silk blouse on.
Yeah, I have a little dress on too.
I know, you look cute. Yeah, I love it. No, I love the passion, Janis, that you have for what you're doing and for the program you put together. I think it's really cool. And I agree with you. I mean, I see it all the time. There's tons of agents that are struggling. And, most people don't come into this business being from a sales background.
Mm-hmm.
They've already come from somewhere else. And they've never actually learned how to sell or know what to do, and when they're going through the classes, you learn one thing, but you don't learn how to talk to people,
mm-hmm.
how to ask questions, how to maneuver them through the sales process, right?
Right.
As their realtor, their advocate, their hopefully friends, you can be friends with your people. And so there needs to be a place for that. And I say, you could go to a company and have all the training in the world and sit there, but that's where you gather the information.
Right.
The training is the real world doing of whatever it is that you choose to do. Right. It's actually, whether it's calling people, whether it's inviting people for coffee, whether everybody can go a different route, whether it's just your social media and Instagram and doing walkthroughs of the houses and posting that and doing cute little, boomerangs and stuff to show people that you're working and what you're doing. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can find business, but it's one person at a time, right? One step at a time.
It is.
The daily action and just committing to that day. And And I think that's something like committing and is a big part of it, right?
It is. But if you commit to something that you don't want to do, you're not going to stick with it. And that's
figuring out what that is.
Right. Figuring out what that is the number one thing to do. Because, and remember, I have about 30 to 40 students in my pre-licensure course every time we do a class. Let's say closer to 30, right? Sometimes a little over 30. And the sad truth of it is that more than half of those are not going to make it in the business. And I tell them that when they come in. But the thing that I try and explain to them that, because a lot of people come into the classroom because they saw HGTV and that's one of the things I say on day one is this ain't HGTV, because it's not. Like, we're going to talk about meets and bounds, and we're going to talk about real property versus personal property. But what they don't understand oftentimes is that the hunt is the hard part of this job. You can learn how to do contracts. You can learn how to show houses and do lockboxes and now virtual tours and all the mechanics of our business, or you can hire an admin and delegate it out. But what you can't do is you can't delegate out the hunt. You can buy leads, but now you're going to pay for them. It's hunting for your client. And when people, you're right, when people don't have a sales background and they come into this business and they don't know how to find the client, it doesn't matter how much they know about contracts. It doesn't matter what market stats they know. And somehow there's that missing piece. No one tells. It's like no one wants to come out and admit, I didn't know how the hell to find a client. To be that basic and that honest and that vulnerable and say, this is how you do it. It's not a magic bullet. It's not a magic secret. Oh, do this one. And I see those things in my Facebook feed all the time. Here's the magic secret, how to find. There is no magic secret. It's something that you build and you do every single day, and you're always growing, you're always learning, and it's something you have to work on. And when people say, write me a check, or nobody writes checks anymore. Click on here and I'll give you my top 5 secrets on how to go to, $100,000 in sales in 6 months. It's bullshit. And that's why I do what I do.
It comes down to doing the basic things, whatever it is, over and over and over and over and over again. And not
people do one thing, it's reach out and touch 5 people a day. And that's just the simplest basic thing. And it could be more, it could be less. Well, it shouldn't be less. It could be more, and there's plenty more that you need to do. But if you're watching this right now and you don't know what the hell to do in your business, the simple thing is call 5 people today. The minute this is over, just call 5 people. It doesn't have to be about real estate. It just call people, say hello, how are you, talk to them, do that every single day. And what you said, Maria, do you ever go to a party and someone doesn't talk about real estate? No, that's the whole point. The more you talk to people, real estate's going to come up naturally, and then you're going to turn contacts into clients naturally.
Yeah. And you can know all the stuff about real estate, but learning how to talk with people and connecting with people. One of the things I think too, Janis, is help somebody. Go help somebody else when you're lost. Help somebody else help grow their business. Help somebody. You don't know what to do. You're down in the dumps. If you help somebody, it's going to help you actually feel better.
Laws of attraction. Absolutely.
And it's going to help them. Everybody has to start somewhere, and everybody's journey's different. My journey, the reason why I came into real estate and kind of hit the ground running like crazy is because I sold radio advertising for 11 years.
Oh, did you? Which station?
The last group I worked at was Greater Philadelphia Radio Group, 95.7 WMMR, WMGK, PEN.
I did my college internship at WMGK. And it's so funny. I was in the promotions department and the sales team sat over there. And the whole time I was in promotions, getting little widgets and crap together and balloons, I was like, I want to be over there. I want to be on the phone selling. That's so funny.
Yep. That's what I did. And the beginning of it, when I was 24 years old, my first job, they handed me a yellow pages, a notepad, a stack of business cards. And it was like a computer DOS thing. There wasn't no internet.
Right.
1994. Internet.
Right.
No email. I would cry every single day for months. I hated it. I hated the job. I said, I didn't, I used to pick up the phone, the dial, and ask for the person. And they would come to the phone and I'd hang up on them.
That's funny.
I was petrified, crying, sitting, I'd be hiding in the bathroom, hiding in my car, going out, smoking cigarettes, like stressed out from this whole thing. And you know what? I just didn't give up. And I didn't give up. And I kept doing it. And my boss said to me, why don't you go in person and just go in and ask who handles the advertising for that furniture store or wherever I was going? And I said, okay. I got in my car, start going in person. I got the business card and I need a business card. So now when I called them back, I said, oh, I stopped in yesterday, talked to Mary. Hi, Frank. I talked to Mary yesterday. She said today at this time would be a good time to call. Is this a good time to talk? So now it was like a warm, right? So I had to find my way. And I had to call like about 100 people, like contact, not call. Contact like 100 people to get 10 appointments to close 2 sales. So in the real estate world, I got in and I was like, everybody needs a house. Or people want to invest. I understand numbers, investment. Yes, I got it. I got the numbers. Right?
What made you segue from radio sales to real estate?
How?
Why? Like what made you want
What happened in radio was there's a lot of nepotism. It was like I didn't own the account. So I would bring in all these accounts, and then there was like house accounts that were my accounts as account manager that I was in charge of, like Acme Markets, for example. And maybe like channel 57 or back then 48 or channel 3. They bought time on the radio to promote the shows. They were accounts. So this one year, they wanted to hire this other young woman, and they took like a third of my billing, and I had a budget of like, I don't remember, $1 million, $900,000 budget for the year that I had to bring in business, in book time. And they took like almost a third, and I lost my shit.
Right. I would too.
And so this happened, and I actually ended up quitting there, going to another place. That didn't work out. I was only there 6 months, and then I went back and stayed my last 5 years with Greater Philadelphia Radio Group. Before that, I was at Q102 and Star 104.5. Brief stint for 5 years there, brief stint at WYSP. And then the last 5 years, I was at 95.7, which was Jam and Gold, then Mix. Now it's Ben FM, I think. Ben FM.
Yeah.
And so I was tired of, they said, you can make as much money as you want. And I'm like, well, I keep bringing in clients and you keep taking the other accounts and giving them to somebody else. And I got to keep bringing more people in.
Right.
So I could never get to, I was probably making about 160, 165, somewhere around there back then. And I wanted to make more. I wanted to make about 250 is what I was looking to do. And they told me, and I was pretty young at the time, and they told me, well, you make enough money. What do you need to make more money for? And I was a renegade salesperson. I was a racehorse, like a pedigree racehorse. I'd go out, go get it, bring it back in. They would say, here, we got these packages. I'd make the calls, sell, close, the reason why I was able to do this, because I built a lot of relationships with people, concerts, theater, sporting events. I would take people out for lunch and dinners. I entertained. And I had these people were my friends. So it wasn't a matter of like, we called it on the buy. It was like, what share of the buy am I getting? If a client had $100,000 to spend, they were buying 4 stations over like a 6-week period, 25,000 a station. No, I wanted 35. I wanted to be able to get a bigger share. Right. So I took all that knowledge I already had in selling and dealing with people, relationships, client building, connecting. So I had to call on all business owners. So when I segued into real estate, because a friend of mine said, you would be great. And I was like, I don't know. I see people walking around with that sign. Well, they're like open house, the open house signs. I thought it was kind of goofy.
Right.
He's like, well, there's a little more than that. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll talk to your business partner. And I did. I talked to Steven, and Steven had just left Prudential, and he opened up a tiny shop on Broad Street. I went and he met with me, and I talked to him for 3 hours. And that was in November of 03. In December of 03, I decided to sign up for the course. The next course started in January. And I was working still in radio, and I took the course on the weekends. So worked, took the course, studied, was licensed by March, had my first closing in April for like, I think 400. My second closing was in like May or something for $1,025,000. I sold a 4-unit building. So my second sale was an investor, multifamily. And in the whole first year, 11 months, I worked both things. I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I was working all like nonstop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, except for the sleeping part. And then in February, it was February 5th, 2005, was my first day full time in real estate. And in 2 months, I had an assistant. And a couple months later, I started a team. And people thought I was a real nut back then. Like, who's she starting a team? I had all this business because I knew all these people.
Right.
And I was just calling people, and I was answering the phone and answering questions. And I would say, would you like to meet? I was just learning the real estate. I would study the numbers, study the market, right?
That's how it is, about the people and the relationships. And, that's what all the, I love this story, what you're saying. And I know that it can be really intimidating to new agents, because you say, oh, I got my license in March, and by April I closed my first deal, and then May, $1 million. And there are people out there that are like, how did she do that? I didn't do that. And that's
I had 11 years experience
right.
before that. It's like people only see the glory, they don't know the story.
Right.
Right.
I love that. Yeah.
I cut my teeth. I mean, literally, when I tell you, crying, I was broke. I had no money. I would drive on the highway. I was trying. It was before the Easy Pass thing. I had to like find coins to pay the thing.
Yeah.
To pay the toll. Like some days I had no lunch because I had no money.
Right.
Right. And then eventually you're like, okay, I'm going to starve, or I'm going to figure out how to talk to people.
Right.
And you make that decision.
I love it. I love it. And the people that don't know how to get the business, it's all about talking to people. It's that simple. All the other, and there are ways that you do it and ways that you can be more effective and things that you say, but that is just the simple first step, is talking to people. And now, because the world is still mostly shut down and social distancing, a lot of that has moved to online. And that's why 71%, now I know that stat too, 71% of eyeballs were on the internet in April, or on social media in April, right? So think about where the people are. And when the world starts to open back up, you go where the people are, back to events, back to talking to people, back out to coffee or face-to-face or parties or salsa lessons or whatever it is where you can meet people, volunteering, doing what you do in your life and talking to people. And if you want to be the person that picks up the phone and cold calls and goes through lists like a sergeant, that's great if that works for you. But if it doesn't, there are other ways to do it, but you have to talk to people. And I love what you said, because that's the whole basis of the business.
It's all about relationships, talking to people, offering value. Look, right now, when all this was happening, we didn't ask them about, oh, do you have a referral? I don't ask for referrals. I know it's probably wrong.
Oh, no. That's one of my things, is I never ask people for business.
I believe we did a great job. That we send out like marketing to people, just saying about like, we send out Be the Solution. Right. I do like a little 5-minute clip every week. It goes out. It has nothing to do with real estate. There's no ask. I announce about our people coming up.
Right.
But it's just communicating, right? Communicating something, Janis, that might be good. I don't know if you're students are doing it, but creating a personalized video message for each person. Like, say they don't get them on the phone, right? If they could do it just on their cell phone, or if they have BombBomb, it's easy, very easy to do in BombBomb. But let's pretend you don't. You can just make a video right on your phone of yourself talking, "Hi, Janis. Sorry I missed you. I really hope to talk to you soon. I hope you and your family are doing great. Please give me a call when you have a moment." Click, send the video, text.
Texting. Yeah.
Video text, because now they see you, and the chances of you, I've been doing it. People are like, "I love your little video text."
Yeah, they're really the power of video in so many different ways that you can use it is amazing. It's done a lot.
How do you tell your students to get started with video? I know a lot of people are afraid of it.
Well, here's the thing, is that people that are afraid of it, I tell them pick something else. I'm not one to tell people get over your fear and do it, because if I have one of my agents who's amazing at so many things, and she is starting this whole entire Facebook campaign, but she doesn't want to do video. And she knows that it's important to do video, but the reality is if I tell her you have to do video, she's either going to suck at it because she's nervous, or she's going to just choke and not do it. And to me, and this is the same thing that I tell my students when they're taking the test, is the real estate test, is do what you have to do to keep your anxiety level low. Because if your anxiety level is high, you're going to mess up and you're going to fail. And it's the same thing with doing stuff in your business. If your anxiety level is high because you don't want to do video, or you don't want to cold call, to me, you're going to fail, because you're setting yourself up for disaster. So for people that are comfortable with video, I say to them, it's always about the WIFM, the what's in it for me. When I'm giving a message, and it's the same thing about not asking for referrals. I don't ask for referrals because what's in it for the client? When I'm calling someone and saying, "Can I have a referral?" What's in it for them? And people want to know the WIFM, what's in it for me. And so I don't ask for business. I offer a solution, and be the solution. What's your problem? And how can I help you? The whole point is to start asking questions. And as far as video, I don't have a one size fits all telling people what to do with video, because it depends on the person and the message. It depends on who you are. One of my agents, she used to be in film, and she used to be a roadie, doing like behind production. She in this whole thing, we've been talking, and this whole shutdown, and she's feeling lonely and isolated, and she misses her artistic people, and she misses that artistic life. She created a whole entire Facebook group based on that. It has nothing to do with real estate. And now it's turning into a place where people can come and talk and share ideas, and she can start connecting with people. Once she connects with people again, which is what she misses, then she takes the conversation offline. That's when the real estate piece happens.
It's all about finding your passion, whatever that is.
Exactly. And so that's the work that I do with people. And we do a coaching group actually now that meets online every week.
What's that look like?
What does it look like?
Yeah. Like, what's it?
Like details. So
once a week for an hour.
Once a week, it's about an hour, and we go over a topic, and I'll do a slideshow and present, but it's really informal, so people can jump in and ask questions. And then we try and come up with an action plan, and then hold them accountable for it the next week to see if they did those steps. And people are starting to. It just started about 5 weeks ago. I started it when this whole shutdown thing, and it's a really great group, and we're going over some really cool stuff. So this week we talked about referrals, and not referrals like asking your client for referrals, but referrals from other agents, because there's two types of referrals, right? There's I refer business to you, and you go do the deal and send me a referral fee. And then there's also me asking you to send me your referral business. We're in two different markets. And most of the agents that I see online are always asking for referral business. But the beauty of this whole online world now and where we are is that if you're reaching out and connecting with people online around a shared interest, like film or arts, you are going to start talking to people in all different markets around the country. And when the conversation turns to real estate, you can't help them because they're in another state or another market, but you can refer them out. And so that's a really great way for you to reach out where people are, which is online, in a warm, comfortable topic. Something that there are birds making a nest on my porch and they just like were fighting or something. You in a warm, comfortable environment rather than cold calling and saying, oh, can I have your business? You're talking to somebody about a shared passion, which is what it's all about. And then the conversation turns, because everybody, when they say, what's your name? What do you do? Oh, I'm in real estate. The conversation turns to real estate. And now you say, oh yeah, you're in Louisiana. Yeah. I know an agent there and I'll refer you. And now you have referrals out all over the place and you have this income stream coming in and you're helping people and you're doing it all from the comfort and safety of your own home, reaching people where they are. So it's those kinds of things that we do in the coaching group and in the Facebook group about adapting and going where people are and doing things that come naturally. Because one of the things that I always say when we go back to how women unfortunately still have the brunt of doing all the housework and the kids is that when you compartmentalize your life, when your business is, I have to do these cold calls and I have to do these scripts and door knocking for 3 hours or 5 hours or whatever. When you're doing it that way, then you come home and then you still have to do all your paperwork and show the houses. And then you come home and you start your second shift. The kids, the spouse, the significant other, the housework. So you do all that. And then by the end of the night, when do you have time to read a book, take a bath, drink a glass of wine, whatever? The beauty of doing it based on relationships and organically is that it's integrated. You're working and talking and playing all at the same time. And so you don't have to compartmentalize your life and you avoid burnout. And that's what it's all about. It's all about people like this, me and you, right?
It's all about people.
It's all about people.
And excuse me, allergies are so bad this morning. And real estate's everywhere because people are everywhere and everybody needs a place to sleep, whether it's a rental or a home or maybe a nice second vacation home.
Yay. I'm actually going Saturday. I'm waiting to get the okay, but my plan is to go tour a vacant property down the shore and do a live there because because New Jersey's open for business. Yeah. And so there's some really good deals down here. And so I'm going to do a multifamily one that has like an in-law suite or an apartment so that people that think it's out of their reach to buy a shore house, they can buy one and have the rental income subsidize it, like house hacking. So
what do you know where you're going to go?
I called the agent. I'm waiting to make sure it's okay with her. So it's not my listing. So I'll announce it later today. I'm going to call her, follow up with her.
Yeah. If you want to put in the comments, all the information about where people can reach you for your coaching program.
I will.
And also let us know about that house because I am dying to get out of my house.
I will.
In Philadelphia.
I will.
Wow.
I know.
I'm ready to explore.
I got you. It's nice to spread out a little bit. Yeah. I will. It was so great talking to you.
Oh my God, this was so much fun.
Thank you for having me.
Thankful and grateful and appreciative of you coming on Be the Solution and spending your time with us this morning and giving us a lot of really great nuggets. I look forward to seeing you very, very soon
in Philly
for that wine.
Definitely.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Janis.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.